Not all of President-elect Donald Trump's supporters are here in the United States. His anti-establishment brand has found some common ground with folks north of our border. Most notably with my next guest, Kellie Leitch, Conservative Party of Canada leadership candidate and a member of the Canadian Parliament. Dr. Leitch is also a medical doctor specializing in orthopedic pediatric surgery. She also holds an MBA. Dr. Leitch, I think you're overqualified for politics.
Look, I'm delighted to be on your show today, David. I don't think I'm overqualified to be a parliamentarian.
Well, you certainly have a vast resume. Let's talk, though, about how a lot of people in Canada think you are sort of the Canadian version of Donald Trump. And one of those things has to do with something you said about screening immigrants, or at least how to deal with immigrants that come into Canada. You said, I don't think it's intolerant to believe in a set of values that we expect everyone to share here and include those people who are coming to visit or immigrate to Canada. Now, some in Canada called that statement alone intolerant. Why is it not?
Well, look, David, here in Canada, whether it be the elites or the insiders or some of the left-wing media, they're really out of touch with the average Canadian. And I know that we know they're pushing their open border globalist agenda to feather their own caps. But they're leaving behind average Canadian workers and what 2/3 of Canadians agree with me on, which is that we should be screening immigrants to Canada for Canadian values. I spoke about screening individuals coming into Canada with face-to-face interviews. Right now in Canada, only 1 in 10 immigrants to this country receive a face-to-face interview.
Wow.
All I'm advocating for is that we go back to what we used to do in this country, that we meet every immigrant coming to the country, have a face-to-face interview, and ask them about Canadian values. I don't think that that's asking too much. And 2/3 of Canadians, average Canadians, agree with me. The elites, the insiders, the left-wing media, they're doing everything they can to stop me.
It's remarkable
I'm not going to
how
back down.
similar the concerns there are to the concerns here. I'm just wondering, though, whether in going in the opposite direction of what you used to do in Canada, whether you're becoming sort of like those European cities that have certain areas quadranted off where police and others are afraid to go.
Well, look, in Canada, our Senate put forward a report 18 months ago talking about how we should move towards face-to-face interviews for all immigrants. Our government hasn't acted on that. Our current government, our current Prime Minister said they'd have a plan in November. There was no plan. They said December. There's no plan. Canadians are concerned. And as I said, 2/3 of Canadians agree with me. We should be screening these immigrants for Canadian values with face-to-face interviews. And I'm going to continue to talk about this because the average guy and gal on the street here in Canada, that's what they care about.
Well, they care a lot about it here in the United States as well. We also care, of course, about health care, and we're those folks who are pushing health care, even a greater role for the government in health care here in the United States, point to Canada, and they say, you folks have almost complete socialized medicine, and you're doing pretty well, to which you say what?
Well, we have some real challenges with access to quality care here in Canada. We have long waiting lists. The average Canadian, seniors, individuals that are working hard every day, don't have access to the care that they need. In a previous world, when I was chair of the Health Innovation Center at the Richard Ivey School of Business, we were looking at new ways to approach healthcare in this country so that we could meet budgetary ends, but also make sure Canadians got good quality care. And I think that there's some changes that we can look to in the future and make sure that Canadians get better healthcare quality.
We have to go, Dr. Leitch, but it's fair to say that socialized medicine isn't the cure, correct?
I would tend to agree with you today, David, but what I will say is, and I'd like to leave on this, and it's a bit of a non sequitur for what you've raised, is, you know, we have a Prime Minister in this country who's out spending billions of dollars globally on other climate change issues.
Right.
He's put a new carbon tax in place. He is killing Canadian jobs. And in this country, we need to be able to pay for those services, make sure that the average Canadian is taken care of, whether it be healthcare or other things. And only if we follow a path of making sure the average Canadian's voice is heard are we going to get to that point. So thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Dr. Kellie Leitch, a pleasure. Please come back and see us again. Appreciate it.